What would it mean to Ricky Waters to get a knock on his door saying that he has been selected to be enshrined in Canton, Ohio in the NFL Hall of Fame?
I see your shirt.
If you didn't see the shirt, man, you could hear this accent. That's for sure.
All right, boys. Water Boys College Football Show. We have our very first guest that we've ever had on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, played at the home of Touchdown Jesus, Notre Dame University. Also, multiple time Pro Bowler, won a Super Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Waters in the house.
Clap it
Yes,
up.
sir.
Clap it up.
Yes, sir.
Now, Ricky, you're our first guest on. So you're just gonna be one of the boys talking ball tonight, if that works for you.
That definitely worked for me.
Because I mean, that's all we do. We talk college football, and it bleeds into the NFL, and we're just dudes talking ball. That's
This
all
is our
this
me time.
This is what our wives call our me time.
We need that
Right.
time.
100%. So yeah, I was going to put this in your intro. We also should say someone who, if he does not get into the NFL Hall of Fame, I am going to just not call it the Hall of Fame anymore.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
I mean, we don't have to get into it, Ricky, but like I was doing some numbers comparison early this morning, and I was like,
His numbers dwarfed
What do we?
a lot of people in the Hall of Fames.
10,000 yards.
Come on. Yeah. 4,000
Come on.
receiving, over 4,000 receiving. Jesus.
But Ricky, thanks so much for spending some time with us, brother. It means a lot, and I know you're a busy guy. And your team, by the way, which includes your wife, are just awesome people. You guys, they are
Thank
great
you.
to work with.
And they get it, you know. It's about giving back. We're having fun doing this. I love this, like getting out there with the fans and getting going. You know what I mean? I appreciate the fans. I want them to know that for sure.
Well, let's talk a little bit. I got one question, because obviously we're a college football show, and not a whole lot of schools. I mean, I'm obviously repping what would be considered one of the blue blood college football programs.
Boomer Sooner.
There we go. So we had a rough year last year.
Been a rough couple of years. Yeah.
Strez is an Ohio State fan, so he's had a good couple of years here.
Real good last year.
Yeah, we know.
At my
sorry,
expense.
Ricky.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, I'm sorry about it. I'm sorry
Mr.
about it.
Waters, I had you on here, and I'm gonna tell you that. Nah, it's all good. I'm so proud of my team, the way they played last year, how they came back after losing that game the way they did, and for their coach to be able to rally them the way they did. It was just incredible. In every game, I was hanging on, like, yes. You could just see them gaining confidence, getting better. They had a great year, no doubt. And Ohio State, man, hats off. I give it to him, no doubt. My boy from high school went to James Bryant. He played running back at Ohio State. He was number 41. They broke out the number 41 for him. He was so good.
Wow.
What do you think of Marcus Freeman up there at Notre Dame?
Love him. I'm going up for the spring game. I want to meet him, want to talk with him, want to, let him know that I'm in his corner. Love what he's doing with the guys. I've talked to different parents of the young people who are playing, different people who are playing now. They love him. They love everything about him, everything that he brings to the table, and they wanted him. The young people wanted him, and that's what's the best thing when the athletes themselves say, we want this guy as a coach. If you're considering somebody, and if you're considering this guy, please make it him, because we appreciate him.
Yeah. That video when they announced in the locker room and Marcus Freeman came out and the whole team just went nuts.
You know what I'm saying?
I was like, that's a culture thing. Yeah, that's a culture thing.
That's real.
It's cool. It's cool to see how, culture is evolving and changing. The game's a little bit different. Athleticism is a little bit different. And mentorship, because I play music, and I've gave guitar lessons for a couple of years now, and I've always said that I have students on occasion where I become like guitar teacher second and kind of mentor first because they're wanting to figure out things in their music career. So, and I've always loved the correlation between music and comedians or musicians and athletes and just mentorship in general, how important that is. Of course, what Marcus is doing with the culture there in Notre Dame. But wanted to ask you specifically, Ricky, what's mentorship mean to you and what's it like to be able to give that back now to some of these young players?
No doubt. First of all, I want to get you with my son, Ricky Jr., because he plays a lot of instruments, but his favorite one is guitar. So I got to get you guys
That's
together.
awesome.
But
Heck yeah.
yes, it's very important to me. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have the mentorship. First of all, my dad was just so influential in my life. But I've had coaches, I've had different players. For me to go to Notre Dame and have the guys there that I could follow that were already doing it. Tim Brown was one of the guys I can think of right off the top. You know, Tim Brown was doing it right. And for me to be there with them, there all my guys there, you know, I could Rocket Ishmael, Todd Light, I can go on and on about all my boys, you know, Tony Rice. We are still to this day tight. Those are my brothers and everything. So that in itself is one thing. But to have the older guys there to usher you in, to have Tim usher me in, you know, show me the ropes a little bit, for me to go to the 49ers and have a guy like Jerry Rice, have John Taylor, have these guys, yo, we're going to show you how to do it. We're going to show you how to be a professional, how to do it right. That is why I did so well. There were times that I could sit up here and say, I'm a boss, all this stuff, right? Or I can say the truth. There's times I thought about quitting. There's times I was worried. There's times that I thought, man, I'm ready. And maybe I'm not so ready. You know, maybe I had it handed to me one day in practice, or we were running and I wasn't the first one to cross the finish line, you know, stuff like that I was used to at different stages when I was moving up. There were people who let me know you're good, but you got to work a little harder, a little bit harder if you want to get to this level. And so those people meant a lot to me. And then it was great for me to be able to turn around and do it for guys like Duke Staley, to do it for Sean Alexander, to do it all these different guys, Charlie Garner, all the different. But I mean, I've had some great running backs that came after me and that played with me when I was there. And I had, if you talk to them now, they'd be like, oh, that's my big brother. Oh, yeah, you know, LaShawn McCoy will tell you, oh, yeah, that's my man. You know what I mean? I asked him, talk to him. He gave me pointers. Just like I went to Jim Brown, he gave me pointers. You know, I went to different people. I talked to, man, the reason why I love football so much, and number one, football, but the running back position. The running back position is a crazy thing for me because when I came out in high school, I played so many. I was like Travis Hunter before Travis Hunter. So I play all these different positions.
You played quarterback in high school, right?
Quarterback, cornerback, safety. You know, I was wide
Wow.
receiver, flanker. So I play all these positions, but I always wanted to be a running back because I loved Walter Payton. I loved Tony Dorsett, Marcus Allen, all these different people. You know, I love these guys. So when I thought about myself in the pros, I thought about myself as a running back. But the craziest thing is when I came out, you know, I was one of the top recruits in the country because I could play all these different positions, and more people wanted me for wide receiver than wanted me for running back. More people wanted me for even safety and defensive back than running back. I just wanted to play running back. So I was like, the teams that want me, you know, the colleges that want me for running back, they stuck in my head more because I wanted to play that position, even though I wasn't the biggest guy, the strongest guy at that time. I was quick though, and I could, you know, can make you miss and do all that. But I had to learn to be strong and and the whole thing of lifting weights and all that and getting stronger. I didn't really even know about lifting weights or really think about it because my athletic ability was like doing it for me. But when I went to high school, I had a guy by the name of Sean Borowski. This guy right here, he went to Penn State. He was my fullback, and he played fullback at Penn State. This guy put me on the weights, got me into all that kind of stuff where it's like, yo, if you could put this, that power game, he's the one that taught me how to block, like really get up under guys and so having guys, even guys I played with, even some guys that I might have surpassed in my athleticism or whatever, those guys meant so much to me. And that's why I want to be so much for the other guys coming along. And I think it's very important for people to know. And if young people are listening now, you never know where you can get that knowledge from. You can get that knowledge from anybody. It could be somebody younger than you. It could be somebody not as good as you think you are or whatever, but they might give you that gem that you take with you that you say, oh my God. Like my high school coach, he was always like, you want to be a Swiss Army knife. You want to be able, the more you can do. He was like that. So that's why I was always like, the more I could do. So they say, oh, I need somebody to blitz. I'll blitz. They're like, you're the running back. What you mean you want to blitz? But I'll blitz. I want to, I want to play all the positions. And I never used to come off the field when I was playing in high school. Yeah. I was every down, I'm out there doing something. I'm doing kick returns. I'm doing punt returns. Because they were saying, oh, who want to do punt returns? I do. Who want to do kick returns? I do. If I can get the ball too, and there's a chance I can get the ball, even if it's sticking somebody and I can intercept the ball, man, I'm trying to be out there and do my thing. So I think, but long story short, it's really important. Mentors are so important, and they come from all different angles. So I want people to not think that only a mentor is somebody who is more successful than you, or somebody who has gone further than you, or somebody who is smarter than you, or anything like that. You can get mentorship from a lot of different areas, and you can even get it from a woman. I had nuns. See, I went to Catholic school my whole life. It wasn't just Notre Dame. It was my whole life. And some of those nuns would get after you, buddy. Back then, they'd paddle you. They'd get on, they'd put your hands out. Bow. They hit you with the yardstick. The big yardstick. They hit you with the yardstick. So, but not that they were just mean, but they've done a lot for me to help me in my life as well. So it could come from anybody. And I just want people to understand that.
Truth is truth, no matter the arbiter, right?
Right.
Same, I remember teaching young kids and music and them teach me something. I've been playing years longer than they have, but the simplicity or to see something through like their eyes or their mind, and maybe sometimes we overthink it or whatnot, be it the love of music or the love of sports, what it may be. That's so important. You just dropped so much great life information there in the past like 10 minutes. I love it, man.
Ricky, during the national championship, I've got boys that are younger, and one of the things I loved about the national championship, and we've even talked about it on this show before, is there was a whole generation introduced for maybe the first time to Lou Holtz.
Yeah.
They didn't know who Lou Holtz was, and then
you need to understand, son.
Everybody knows Lou Holtz now.
Son.
What is it like going through the recruiting process with Lou Holtz? Maybe one of the most, if not the most legendary name in college coaching. He's top 5. You just say the name, you immediately, everybody could do an impression. They know where he coached. Like, what's it like going through the recruiting process with Lou Holtz?
Man, it was amazing. Really, it was a lot of fun. Obviously, you can learn a thing or two from a guy like Lou Holtz. So of course we all learn from him. We all I think all of us, when we go to speak, like I do speaking engagements, we all do that. We use a little bit of Lou Holtz. There's no doubt that we're not going to use a little bit of it. And I can remember, man, because I had other ones like Joe Paterno, all those guys were, recruiting me. I remember because I was a top recruit for Pennsylvania, and I remember Joe was like, man, that guy, he's only good for magic tricks and this and that and jokes and this and that. Like, I'm the real deal. You need to come, be a Nittany Lion. And I remember they kind of got after it. I was on the phone a little bit. I was like, I don't know what to do. But because I had said that I was going to Notre Dame. That's where my parents really wanted me to go. They were like, it started out with, we know you're going to make the right decision. We raised you right. That whole thing, blah, blah, blah. It's your decision. Then it turned into, we're not going to let you make the wrong decision now. You got a chance to go to Notre Dame. You got to go to Notre Dame. So
Gotta take it.
that's how they felt about it. And plus, Coach Oates, he knew what to say because I was wanting to be an architect at the time, and everybody was like, "You can't do architecture and play football. It's just not enough hours in the day. You can't do it." And he said, "I'll tell you what, son, you could do whatever you put your mind to. What the mind believes, the body will achieve." All the stuff that he would say. He had so many great sayings and everything, and he had a way. He had a way about him. He knew how to bring guys together. He knew because Notre Dame. It was crazy. I think all probably colleges are like this, but we were so different. A lot of the guys in the locker room. Some guys are from the South, some are from the North. Some people are really religious, some are a little bit, all that kind of stuff. But he knew how to bring people together and get you fired up, and he would have you ready to run through a wall for him. He'd tell he'd do a magic trick, he'll say a joke or whatever, but then he'll always bring it to the real side of things and what's real in life and the things that really matter, like being on time, stuff like that. I used to always cut it close, cut it close. I'm on time. I was even on time, and he was like, "Nope, you late this day," because like I was here, everybody else was ready. You slid in a little late. You're late. But I learned from that, and I was only late one more time, one more time with the Niners, but I was never late again after that. It was like once you understand that everybody's time is valuable, not just yours. Not if everyone else is here and you're not here yet, then you're late. Cause what? Everybody else is here. What? So I didn't understand that when I was younger at first, but now I do. And certain things have worked to help me in my life. Things that he has told me or said to me. Like I remember coming up to the meeting room. I had my boom in my car. It's boom, boom, it's bass going, everything. And he was like, "Would you come to if you were at a job, would you come up to your job like that? Just driving with the boom, boom." And at first I was like, "Yeah, I would," right? But the truth is you wouldn't. You wouldn't because you can't come into that type of situation. You would dress a certain way when you handle things. He always wanted us to be business-like. So we had to dress like a businessman when we went on the road. I thought that was, God, that's a little bit extra. Now, I already grew up, right? Going to Catholic school, I had to always wear a uniform. I always had to wear a tie. I always had everything. So I was like, now I'm finally in college. I wear what I want to wear. No, you don't. You still got to wear that tie. You just got to get it tight. But I remember embracing that. I remember at a certain point embracing that and saying, "You know what? I look at the other team and they're not dressed up like us. I say, yo, we got a little something on them. We're businessmen. We're businesslike. We're serious people here. We don't play games. We're about that." And I started to grab that in high school because in grade school I still was like, God, everybody else is wearing their cool shoes, their sneakers, or Jordans, whatever. But then after a certain time, I started saying, "You know what? I wear my penny loafers. I put a quarter in there. You know what I mean? I'm boom. I'm fly though. I got my suit. I would switch up different ties. I had the different stuff that I could wear, and I started saying, "You know what? But I look fly. I look fashionable." And I took that with me the rest of my life. Even in the pros, when we didn't have to dress up, I dressed up. And then everybody started having to dress up. They was like, "Man, that's your fault. That's you in prime." They would always say that, me and Dion, like, y'all mugs always want to wear them suits and stuff. So now we have to wear suits. We should wear suits, man. This is a business trip. We going on to do some business right now. So let's handle it that way. And that started, with Coach Holtz and the way he saw things business-like. You had to be focused. He was a no-nonsense coach. I don't even know if some of that stuff will go over nowadays because he would get after you. You know how you can't really get after the young people nowadays. But it worked for us and it made us champions. This is my other one. This is my national championship. I got my Super Bowl, but I got my national championship too. So can't be bad.
Ricky, we need you to weigh in on something that we've debated for the last like 2 or 3 shows. Spring games.
Uh-huh.
Spring games apparently are going to go away because of the transfer portal and coaches are not wanting to do it. And Strez, played college football, and he said, I looked forward to the spring game. I enjoyed playing in the spring game. And I think from a fan's perspective, the spring game, we were talking about this last week, for a lot of fans, especially if you're not, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. The spring game was one of the only games we could afford to go go watch Oklahoma, because spring game ticket was like $6 or $7, and you could take your kids to go see it. And big time college football is expensive to go if you're, a family that, is just blue collar. The spring game, if the spring game goes away, do you think college football is going to be missing something with not having that happen, every spring, and fans having to wait all the way till August like they do in the NFL?
You're right on with that. I love the spring game and I love everything about it. But in this day and age, I understand what they're talking about. Because first I was like, what? Get rid of the spring game. Why would you do that? I'm like, that is like a big party for us because both teams are our teams. It's like fun. Everybody can come out and we would sell it out, at Notre Dame. It's a sold out event to come to the spring game. It's probably like that with the Sooners too. But man, we loved it. But I understand if somebody's going to take my players, if somebody's going to watch my players in the spring game and say, you know what, I want that guy, or I'm going to go after that guy, and now it's hurting my program, then of course I have to do what I have to do to try to make my program the best it can be and my team, give my team the best chance to win that coming season. I would hate to, could you imagine you got this quarterback and you showed him off in the spring game and now he's going to be your guy and no one knew he was coming, and now somebody steals him in the portal. Hopefully that wouldn't happen, but in this day and age that happens.
Yeah,
That's a catch-22.
And it doesn't seem like the game has changed that much, but man,
I've said my piece. I just think they need to shut the portal sooner. Like before, you can't get in the transfer portal before or after spring ball.
Oh, if they do that, that's the answer.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest like solution in my brain. Yeah, but it needs to open after the national championship's over.
Yeah,
and then it needs to close before the end of spring football.
Yeah. I don't want to see another Georgia-Florida State game deep in the season like 2 or 3 years ago.
I mean, last year, the year before last, Ohio State had a bunch of guys that sat out and entered the transfer portal, and we lost to freaking Missouri. Like, what?
That's a rough day in Ohio State.
You lose to Mizzou in postseason.
Many rough days, so we don't feel sorry for y'all mugs.
Yeah, and that's just, I mean, you lose to Mizzou in one postseason, and the very next year you win the national championship. Like, make that make sense.
Make sense.
But that was part of it, though. It was the transfer portal was just like, it's just crazy. And I mean, I think it used to exist at a level where it was acceptable, right? If you were going to transfer to a school that maybe had an academic program that the school you were at didn't offer, right? Maybe you're transferring for academic reasons, so to speak, right? You put it on the paper that you're transferring for academic reasons,
I
don't know.
Yeah, right. Or you could transfer like Justin Fields when he was at Georgia. He was getting used in the weirdest ways possible, and then he was like, I have an opportunity to go do something at Ohio State. There was no NIL yet, and that transfer felt good, right? I'll always love the transfer portal just because of like the athletes that Ohio State gets to have in their program. But I think like the coupling of the transfer portal with NIL with like no guardrails has just made it unbearable.
I think in the future we're going to see more. We're going to see more. That's how things start out, right? They start out as the Wild Wild West. And then they start putting parameters on. They start saying, okay, this is not fair. This is now the teams with the most money is going to be in every year, So now they see that kind of stuff. So I think that they're going to make adjustments to it. But if I am being honest, I'm happy that they have it more than they don't have it, because so many young people were the ones losing. And they were coming out late. They would go somewhere. They thought they was going to play, never get a chance to play. Now they can go to another place. They can play there. If that team really wants them, really is going to give them a shot that they're not going to get here, then maybe. but also it's taking away fighting for your job. There was like guys that they're supposed to start over me. Now I had to dig in. Now I worked out all off season to take this job away from this guy. And I made myself a better player in not only just for that team, but a better player, period, now. That I don't know I would have did that if I had the job. If I already knew I had the job, if I already knew I'm coming in with the job. It's just human nature. You're not going to work as hard as you have to when you got to beat somebody out. You know that there's this guy who's, man, he's a stud too. I came in with all these blue chippers, right? They were all blue chip athletes. And I'm like, oh God, they all had a bunch of yards where they were from. And they all were looked at as the guy. But now when you beat out that guy and you beat out that guy and that guy, now I'm really the guy. So it's something to be said about that as well. But at the end of the day, I'm glad they have it. But of course, they need to make adjustments to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. The running back rooms like were at Alabama a few years ago when Derrick Henry was there, or Miami in the early
That's
2000s.
my dude right there.
Those running back rooms wouldn't exist with the transfer portal now. Like you couldn't, Miami had 4 or 5 guys in the late 90s or 2000s. Some of them got drafted and had very little film. They were just, they had to, in Alabama the same way. And I think you're seeing a little bit we saw with the college basketball tournament is it's hard to keep up with who is at what school. Yeah. Kids on like a 3rd or 4th school. And you're like, how do fans keep this straight? It's worse than the NFL. At least in the NFL, once they get, you're like, at least we got this guy for 4 or 5 years and we know he's going to be there. In college, it's just.
Yeah. And there's only 32 teams that you have to worry about in the NFL.
Right.
It's not
but
132.
Even saying all that, I love college football. There's something about college football that makes it the best for me. And of course I love the NFL. I appreciate the NFL. I appreciate the teams I played for, what they did for me. But the college game, man, that's the game I'm trying to get home and watch. I don't have nothing to do with certain teams. Anything, obviously, Notre Dame, I'm going to watch them play. But I'll watch other teams play too, especially if they got a nice player over there, a nice quarterback, a nice running back. Man, I'm trying to see this guy play. I want to see this guy. Is he really what everybody says he is? And that kind of stuff. It's just a lot of fun, and the pageantry of it all. And the cheerleaders and the band, it's just, they're all in. And there's just a feeling that you can't get from the pro game. Even though they do a good job on the pro game too, I believe. I like, how they started out, and it's like the whole day of football kind of. And now they got it where you can change. What's that called? Where you could change all the different games all at once, and you can see all the different with this going on with the games. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
We talked about it. It reminded me of something we talked about an episode or two ago of just college football traditions. And as a musician, one thing I always like asking guys when it comes to tradition is some of your favorite hype music and hype songs to listen to. Do you have certain songs you gravitate towards in college, high school, or even in the NFL?
Really interesting coming from that era too.
DMX, he's always going to hype you up.
X gonna give it to you.
Come on, it's gonna give it to you. The whole
I love it.
Rough Riders, so he's gonna do his thing. But Tupac, just resonated with me. Tupac, I would just, any of his songs, Changes, Until the End of Time. I can go on and hit him up, all the even the controversial, crazy stuff. I would love it to get me fired up and ready to play. So if I said one person, it would definitely be Tupac.
I'm pretty sure I went to the gym today. It was leg day, right? DMX and Tupac. I think I heard 6 different songs from the two of them. So it was there. It was like, it was unbelievable. It was X gonna give it to you when I was doing the leg press. And I was like, yeah, X is gonna give it to you. Like, this is,
you be like, park it.
And gym playlists are usually
got ludicrous on mine.
Like your gym playlist, you don't want anyone like you hope no one's standing close enough to you because you're like, I don't know.
Oh,
I love it. I don't know if everybody would like
it.
Yeah, I'm public about mine. It's got a title. It's called Mamba Mentality. It's got a picture of Kobe on the cover. Like that's like my whole
You keep saying
Mine goes from
people's right there.
Ludacris to Metallica, just like that.
Bam.
I have Hamilton
Nothing's
songs
wrong
in
with
my
that.
yeah.
Nothing wrong
All
with
right,
that.
we gotta ask Ricky this because Ricky has we're probably never gonna get to talk to anybody that can answer this question because you played in the NFL in two of the most iconic uniforms that have ever been in the NFL, in the Philadelphia Kelly green and the Seattle silver, blue, and green, which both for this generation now, whenever they do use those throwbacks in the NFL now, people just like lose their minds. And you played in both of them. But if you could only suit up one more time and play in one uniform, is it the Philadelphia Kelly green or is it the Seattle silver, blue, and green?
Both of those are super awesome uniforms, but you can't leave out that Super Bowl year when we played with the Niners and we had the white pants with the black, and we had that shadow, we had that black shadow on there too. So that was fire too. But that Kelly green, to me, that Eagles,
They should have wore that in the Super Bowl.
That's smooth. I wanted them to wear that too. I love that Kelly green. Even I don't care if we had white on or we had the green. It didn't matter. We looked sweet. And I felt like we was ready to play. And it's just like when we put that, it was like they put that outfit out for the Niners and we saw that with the white pants and the blue. It's like, what? Like, because we never thought the Niners would change up anything or change their uniforms at all. So to have that, and it just happened to be that year, and Dion came there, and all the guys that we had on that team, Richard Dent, Ricky Jackson. I mean, I go on and on. Charles Mann. I mean, we had some fire players from other places come to play with us, and we already had an awesome team. So that was the most fun. But that Kelly green, as far as like how I felt we looked, I thought we were ready. I thought we were ready with that daggone thing. It's just Randall went down. I'm like, dang, Randall. I thought I was gonna be playing with Randall. Of course, Rodney Peete came in, did a great job. We had a really good team. We had a chance. But when we had that Kelly green on, I'm telling you, that's a sweet uniform. Just loved it.
So 49ers, I was looking at the roster for that team. The young kids now would say you guys had a bunch of dogs. I mean,
the Mexican and the dogs is out.
The fact that Ricky Watters and Deion Sanders were on the same sideline, and both of you guys, from the time you were in college, you had a swag, in the way that you carried yourself. You both had no problems telling the other guy you're playing what you were going to do to him.
To be a fly on the wall in that locker room.
Oh, and then you have Jerry Rice, who doesn't say nothing to nobody ever. What were practices like back then?
The great thing about the practices were we practiced to be perfect. Everybody was out trying to outdo each other. So it was really awesome. It started in the weight room, man. We go in there. I used to roll my sleeves up, act like I'm going in there and lift with the big boys, Dana Stubblefield, all them big, super strong dudes that we had on our team. Like, I'm going in there with y'all. I'm ready to go. I used to always act like my neck was real big. I would walk in there and we would start doing our thing. But even when we go out for the practice, we would go out before practice and have so much fun before practice that the coaches are like, yo, get ready for practice. Like, get serious. Because we would go out there and play games against each other. We used to have the jugs machine. That's the thing that shoots for the punts and the kickoffs. It has the wheels and it shoots the ball out. And we would catch that thing at 5 yards away, 10 yards away. At first, when I first started, it almost took my head off because I saw Jerry and them walk up and boom, and catch that thing right off it. And John Taylor and them, they just boom, right off it. So I'm like, oh, if they could do it, I could do it too, right? I'll go in and almost knock my head. Good thing I had a helmet on. Almost got a concussion from that thing. But we would go out and catch that, and we would do all these different routes and coming back and catch that from that. And it just became a fun thing. Everything we do, we catch how many one-handed catches can we make, and catching it and tapping our feet, going out of bounds, all that kind of stuff. I mean, we would make everything fun. But long story short, we got to the point where we was never dropping the ball. no missed fumbles. I mean, no fumbles, no missed passes, no missed like hiking it to each other, like nothing that other teams would probably do all the time. We weren't doing that. We were trying to have perfection. And if somebody dropped the ball, everybody would go over to him. Oh, come on, man, get in and say, what you doing? Like, man, my fault, my fault, my fault. Because we know we trying to have a perfect practice. George said it one time, George Seifert. He said, man, if you guys have perfect practices for this point on, you don't have to put pads on again. So he's like, okay. So then we roll with that. And we got to the point we were having perfect practices. And so we didn't have to wear pads. And that's why I felt like it even helped us in that you would see in our third quarter, fourth quarter, when other teams are getting worn down and tired, we were still like we were running track. We're still bouncing around and everything. And that's how we went about it. And that's how we felt about things. And everybody played for each other. Everybody pushed each other. Everybody felt like all the other guys are just as awesome as they are. So no one felt like I'm better than you or I'm holding up more than you're holding up of the bargain or whatever. We felt like, oh, everybody on our team is awesome. You know what I mean? Let's just have fun. Let's experience this. And I don't want to be the one to fumble the ball. I don't want to be the one to drop the ball. I don't want to be the one to mess this thing up. So that's how I was looking at it. I'm like, man, I'm on there with Steve Young. When I first got there, Joe Montana was there. This guy, he's from Notre Dame. So I went to, he's from Pennsylvania, where I'm from. And he played for the Niners. And he just happens to be one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the league. And then this guy ushers me in. I come in there and he's coming up to me, oh, what's up, Domer? I wanted to make sure he's talking to me because I ain't wanted to be like, oh, because sometimes they'll play a trick on you. They'll say, what's up to you? And then they'll be like, man, I wasn't talking to you or whatever, you rook or whatever. Well, he wasn't like that at all. He was like, man, he told everybody, this is my brother from another mother. He made me feel so good. He made me feel so like I'm part of the team. He was like, I'm going to help you in any way I can. I mean, this is Joe Montana. You don't have to do that. He didn't need to do it. He felt like I could help the team. He felt like I could be a big part of the team. And he has no idea because after that, he went to Kansas City and we went to play them and they beat us because of that mug. He played so well, him and Marcus Allen. So it was like just being around people like that made me want to be better. I don't want to be the weak link.
Yeah, that energy, it's good to be around energy like that. And I've been saving one interesting fact for this episode, and I got a question as well. But the interesting fact that I found out a couple of days ago, stumbled upon, the San Francisco 49ers has not won a Super Bowl since Ricky Waters played there. Super Bowl 29 is the last Super Bowl.
That's true.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is crazy. Especially
I got a theory.
been back.
I got a theory, by the way. We gotta get Ricky in the hall, and then
just put him in.
You, that's
I like your theory.
Just saying, could be onto something.
I like your theory.
And a question for you, Ricky. I believe that you played in Lawrence Taylor's last career game for the Giants in 1993. I think it was January 15th in the NFC Championship. What was it like playing against LT, arguably one of the greatest guys to ever play on the opposite side of the ball, linebacker?
Outstanding. And he just stopped chasing me. Every time I see him somewhere, he'd be like, man, I'm gonna get you. I was like, man, come on, man. I love you, man. I always tell him, man, I love you. I told you, man, you're my favorite. That's why I play so well. He'd be like, nah. You try to show me up. You a hot dog. I'm like, no, I'm not a hot dog. I promise you. It wasn't none of that. I was just feeling it that day, and I was ready to go. But he's a great guy. He used to chase me a little bit, but then of course he caught me and then we hugged and everything. And he was so cool. But just going against a defense like that and to play like I played that day, it was just amazing, especially when my knee was bothering me. So I wasn't even sure I was going to play that game. And I told the coaches, coach, you can't do this to me. I got to play. It's not a question of will I play? I have to play. This game is too big. I got to do it. And did I know I was going to have a day like that? No. But I knew I was capable of a day like that. I knew that with the offensive line I had, 5 touchdowns.
And see to spotlight that real quick, the Giants that year, they only allowed, I think, 7 rushing touchdowns that whole season, and Ricky got 5 on them in the
That's still
NFC
isn't that still
Championship
a
game.
single playoff game record?
I think so.
Pretty sure.
I don't think it's been broken yet.
With
Even
Lawrence
even with
Taylor on the other side of
Saquon
the
still
ball.
having a chance
Lawrence
at it.
Taylor, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
all
that's
those
crazy.
guys, they had
Yeah.
they were a beast. They were. And
I've been a
that's
New
what
England
fired me
Patriots
up.
fan my whole life, and Bill Belichick, like LT, is like the guy for him. So he's always referenced LT over the years, and just watching his highlights from that game,
The way
it
he
still
played
blows
the
my
game,
mind.
right? The way he played the game. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
You want to be somebody who changes the game. I felt like he changed the game at linebacker. I feel like
Yeah,
I
left tackles
changed
get paid now.
I feel like I changed the game at running back. You know, you start catching the ball, doing more things. You don't have to just be a big bruiser who can run everybody over. Not that I don't like those guys, because I do like those guys. Earl Campbell and those guys like that. I loved watching them. And of course, my boy Bettis. You know my boy Bettis. That's my homie right there. So he was running cats over. So there's nothing wrong with running guys over. But I feel like I changed the game. Me and Roger Craig, guys like that. Come on. You gotta give us ours
Yeah.
too. We changed
Yeah.
the game.
Do you feel like that
And
was
before Marshall Faulk?
Yeah.
Yeah, as I have my Marshall Faulk picture over here.
I love that mug too, though. That's my
Do
guy.
you think that I was a smaller guy coming out of high school going into college, right? I was 5'6", about 180 pounds when I was getting recruited to go into college. Do you feel like not having that like prototypical running back body when you were going into college in that era kind of pushed you a little bit harder to be a little bit more successful and
Definitely.
become the running back that you eventually became?
Definitely. Because everyone, like I said, everyone was telling me you're a wide receiver. You got a wide
Yeah.
receiver body. You can catch well. Why? I don't even understand why you want to play running back. You know, even Coach Host got me there and was like, you know, you could start at running back, but then he was like, you know what? I think you'd be a better receiver for us. I'm like, wait a minute, time out. He's like, man, Tim Brown just left, just won the Heisman. That you might want to just step into that position. But I was like, you stepping on my dreams. You know, I want to be a running back. I want to prove, at least have the chance to prove I'm a running back. So he gave me that chance, and then he still put me at flanker anyway, and we won the national championship that year. So then I still was like, I want to play running back. I at least want the chance. So he put me back. And thank goodness he gave me the chance and I was able to do what I was able to do and everything. But who knows? I might have been a great wide receiver. I'm not going to sit here and say I couldn't have been a great wide receiver, a great defensive back, a great safety. I probably could have. But you have to go with what your heart wants. The heart wants what it wants. You know what I mean? Their desires. It's just like you can't help who you fall in love with, right? You just love that person for whatever reason. Somebody else might think, I don't understand why you love that person or what you see in that person. That's how I felt about the running back position for me. It meant a lot to me. And I even think that, like Coach Host put me, that's another thing, Coach Host, I think he did great. Putting me at flanker, letting me play wide receiver, made me a better receiving running back at that level. Because I already thought I was, but let me tell you something. If you think you're something at one level and you get to the next level, listen again. Because I thought I was ready. So many times I had it handed to me, or I had somebody come and just totally shut me down where I couldn't even get off the ball. Because at first I couldn't get off the bump and run and that kind of stuff. You gotta learn how to do those things. Now I'm just like, I just somebody try to. I mean, it's like martial arts with me now. I just be like, boom, boom, got you, bam, come back to the ball, bam. So it made it easy, but I had to go against those tough defensive backs who were stronger than me at that time because I was only like 170 when I came out. And even when I went to the pros, I was only like 190 something. I wasn't even 200 pounds talking about my running back, you know? So I was like 202 pounds when I first started playing at the 49ers. I ended up like 230. So that tells you how much of a difference it was for me and how I had to get stronger and bigger at different places, especially when I left the Niners. And now everybody's focusing on me. It's an 8-man front, 9-man front. They're blitzing to stop the run, and I have to break through those tackles. So I had to get stronger each place I went, and I had to like gain weight, gain power, different things that I had to work on to get stronger. But nothing was better than the fact that I could be a receiver. Because think about this: you could either stay in and block that linebacker who's bigger than you, or you can go out and let that linebacker now have to cover you. And that
Yep.
was the mismatch. Any linebackers, I was too strong for safeties, and I was too quick for the linebackers. So it was like a mismatch. And I think that was a good thing for me to play wide receiver. I'm glad I played those different positions. I'm glad I understood the quarterback position to understand what they're looking for and to get your head around quick. You know, the worst thing a quarterback wants is that they're ready to throw and you're not coming out of your break, or you're not at least at the top of
Right.
your break, because they can throw it before you break, but they got to know that once they throw it, you're going to be there because it's going to be an interception if they don't.
Would you agree maybe it gives you a little bit of an edge, if not a big edge, because you're more well-rounded, in my opinion,
Yes,
learning different positions and things like that?
definitely made me better. And even at times, I would look at other guys and go, man, that guy's so strong. I want to get bigger and stronger. Does that take away something? Take away that quickness that I had and elusiveness that I had as well. So these things always come into your brain and always into your mind when you're playing, because you're always trying to be the best version of yourself that you can be. At least I was always trying to see how I could be better for my team, better for my quarterback, better for myself. Anything I had to do, I always wanted to get better. And how do you know you're getting better? Because Coach Host used to always say this: you either getting better or worse. You're never staying the same. So you either keep working to get better or you're getting worse. Even if you think you're staying the same, you're getting worse. So that was his really the underneath meaning of it, was to always work to get better and to be a better person, better version of yourself, better tomorrow than you are today, than you were yesterday. So
Yeah.
that's how I think about everything. Being a father, being a husband, a humanitarian. I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to be better. Yeah, I made mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes, but because of that, I'm wiser now because I learned you either make the mistakes and you keep making them, or you make them, you learn from them, and then you teach other people so that they don't make the same mistakes. And that's where I'm at now.
100%. Hard lessons learned, right?
Yeah,
The value you
definitely.
get from that.
Ricky, I got one more thing for you, and then we'll let you go. And I kind of was trying to think of the best way to ask this. What would it mean to Ricky Waters to get a knock on his door saying that he has been selected to be enshrined in Canton, Ohio in the NFL Hall of Fame?
It would be awesome. There's no doubt. It would be awesome for everybody affiliated with me, for definitely my coaches, my teammates. See, I think about those guys because I couldn't have done it by myself. I mean, I've won on every level: grade school, high school, college, and the pros. Had great teammates, had great players that I play with, had great coaches that coach me, had great mentors, like we talked about mentors that come back and talk to me, guys that spent time with me, took their time, like Jim Brown taught me how to play chess. He was like, "You, this helps you get your mind right." So I'm sitting there playing with him. He's kicking my butt. Then he's talking smack to me, and I can't do nothing about it. He's big and strong still. He was still at the time, Jim Brown. So he's teaching me, like, those are the things you never forget and the things that matter so much. So it's like, to be enshrined with those guys, the guys that I love, that I always want to be like, and that I picture myself being like when I got to the pros, and to now be in that same place with them. It would be great, and it would mean a lot to me, my family, everybody associated with me would love it, and it would just be great. There's no doubt. I won't even sugarcoat it. I won't even try to play it down or anything, because yeah, it would be awesome uh, to be mentioned with those guys. When I go see those guys now, they treat me like I am. They love me, and they say, "Man, you should be in," and that kind of stuff. I appreciate that and I love it. But there's nothing like, obviously, putting that, putting it on, being in there for real. And hopefully one day I am in there and I did enough to be in there. I love that all the fans who say it. I love it. I never get tired of hearing it. I never get tired of people coming up to me saying you should be in there and we're pulling for you and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate all of you and hopefully one day we're all celebrating and having a good time because I think it's going to be one big party when that happens, if that happens.
Yeah, man.
I think we'll I'll tell you what we'll do. The three boys here, we'll get us some Ricky Water t-shirts, some Ricky Water gear, and we'll just start making it our like campaign. We'll just start campaigning for Ricky Waters to get in the NFL Hall of Fame.
I'm
There we
starting
go.
the agenda
I
on TikTok
appreciate
tonight.
I appreciate
love
that.
it.
Definitely.
Well, Ricky, thanks so much for your time, man. Love to have you back during the fall, maybe during football, and get to talk a little bit more about Notre Dame. Who knows? They look like
Yes,
they might have another run this year. They look
I think
good.
so. I hope so. Definitely. I love them. I'm gonna watch them either way it goes, but I think they're gonna be good.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, brother.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Ricky.
Thank you, buddy.